Hey, welcome everybody. So this is your October Eclipse IDE October community call. I am Thomas Froment, the Eclipse IDE program manager, and Mark Blochild, the Eclipse IDE working group chair, will join us. I'm just make the introduction with the agenda for today. So thank you for being with us. And we will start by an introduction of our community mentor, Olivier Prouveau and Hannes Wellman. They will explain us what it means, who they are. I don't tell you in advance. Then I'm very proud to have today Andrey Piatakha, who is a very experimented online trainer. As you can see on the screen, I think he has more than 1 million students and very curious and very eager to have his feedback on why and how he uses Eclipse IDE for some of his trainings. And in the second part, in the first part of our community call, we will have 4 demos from, you can see on the screen. The first one by Andreas on multimeter HiDPI, then another demo from Heiko Klare, the third one by the SAP team, Sebastian and Matthias, and the last one by Christopher, again from SAP. What this company have in common is that they are all companies who are member of the Eclipse IDE working group. I mean, just to make sure that I'm pretty sure that all of you already know what it is, but you know, basically the Eclipse IDE working groups is the place in the Eclipse Foundation that take care of the Eclipse, what we call the Eclipse IDE ecosystem. So it's not only actually the IDE, but IDE and the platform, and including its plugin, extension, and everything. And the working group is committed to ensure its sustainability and also to work not alone and with the community, as most of the company are contributors and also committers in the community, also working on the evolution and the modernization of this ecosystem. And so you see here the 12 companies that are currently involved in the Eclipse IDE working group. Thanks to this working group companies, we have a team. Here I mentioned the core team. I think later part me, you probably already know very well our release engineer. Thanks to them, we have a release every quarter. Ed Merckx and Christophe, and we have as newcomers for a few months Hannes and Olivier, and they will explain us today what they are doing, and Serena as event specialist. And beyond the scene in the Eclipse Foundation, we have the full support of this team of people who are taking in charge everything that needs to be done to take care of this ecosystem. So that's all for me. I give the mic now to Olivier and Hannes to start. So for the people who are just joining, please try to mute your microphone and shut down your camera if you are not a speaker. Thank you. And Olivier, Hannes, the mic is yours. Are you with us?
Yes, we are. Thank you very much for the introduction.
I think, is it shared?
No.
Yes, that will be shared.
Yeah,
I think it's okay. Yes?
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, so welcome to this call. Okay, so a short introduction on the new mentors. So as I start to speak, I will just introduce myself. My name is Olivier Prouveau, and I am Eclipse consultant since more than 15 years now, and committer on different plugins. And Hannes.
Sorry. Yeah. My name is Hermann. I'm not into Eclipse development for so long, but I'm also quite active at the moment at various projects, mainly in the Eclipse SDK, also in the Maven integration, and a little bit all around. Yeah. Then let's start. What is our role as community mentors? Our primary goal is to grow and maintain, foster the community of contributors for the Eclipse IDE, so that this group of people grow, stays great, and grows. And of course, this includes things like encouraging and onboarding new contributors. It also includes help new contributors to complete their contributions. For example, if they have created pull requests and they need some review, then we try to review it if it is in our area of proficiency. If it is outside of our area of proficiency, we try to make people that are capable of these topics aware to review these pending pull requests, for example, so that contributors, especially new contributors, get their contributions done smoothly and timely. And of course, it is not only about growing the community of contributors, it is also about fostering the existing contributors, and this also includes clearing existing obstacles to contributions that also help, of course, existing contributors, so that in general the contribution process and the workflow becomes simpler, so that people can focus on their actual contributions, like fixing bugs, introducing new features, and stuff like this, and not with the contribution process itself.
Yes. Yes. So now we will speak about what is and will be done. Actually, our role is to find also the bottlenecks that will be that could be discouraging for people, and also to propose a simpler documentation. Actually, there are a lot of documentation in Eclipse, and which is very full documented and very accurate. But sometimes when you start, it's just when you start as a new contributor, sometimes it can be difficult to onboard on the projects. So one of our missions is to retest and ensure that all the contributors' journeys are simple. And there are a lot of tooling which is very, very powerful, but we must be sure that it will work in the minimum number of clicks, actually. So this work is done under the IDE working group community, and you can follow actually all the issues created for that. You can also, why not, add comments on this. There is a link for that, and this is where we just write what we have found on the different problems. I think I just skip another slide. Yes, what we try to do with that is really to replay everything, and we have found a lot of really, I would say, not big problems, but actually we really see that the learning curve is really difficult to learn. After it's easier. But when you start to contribute to a project, maybe you will be blocked only because the installer will just stop because there is some bad configuration. Well, despite the fact that the installer is very powerful, if one file is not well configured, it can stop. And so this is one of our roles to ensure that everything is correct for that.
Exactly. And on the side of improving the contribution process and fostering the existing contributor community, we already have a bi-weekly developer community call since a few months, who is designed as an open call discuss questions about regarding the development of the Eclipse IDE itself. And everyone who is interested in this topic is welcome and can participate. You can see also on the slides the link to the wiki page about this developer call, where you find on one side the Eclipse IDE community calendar, where all the upcoming events and meetings are listed, as well as access links to these meetings, plus the meeting minutes of past meetings, so that you can see what topics, for example, have been discussed. Right. And the next meeting will, or the meetings usually happens on Thursday at 4 p.m. Which means 2 p.m. UTC. The next meeting will take place Thursday next week. This is October 10th, 4 p.m. European Standard Time, 2 p.m. UTC. And every one of you is more than welcome to participate and discuss topics about development of the Eclipse IDE. For example, if you have some obstacles in a contribution, you're more than welcome to join and discuss these. Or if you want to, or if you have to create new IDs for the Eclipse IDE, it is also possible to discuss these topics here. Of course, besides discussing such topics, for example, at the corresponding GitHub organizations or GitHub repositories. And in general, the goal of this call is to ease personal discussions, and with that to strengthen the bonds between contributors, and with consequently in general strengthen the community and the people. So everybody who's interested is more than welcome to join. Another thing that existing contributors probably know as a quite annoying obstacle is that it is necessary for each project for each Eclipse project in a repository to increase its version on each or on the very first change of that project within in a development cycle. So especially in the beginning of a development cycle, you had many failing builds because the build was detecting that this project didn't have its version incremented, and this led to kind of confusing for people that are not used to this problem, annoyance for people that are used to this problem. And we have now a GitHub workflow installed that automatically increments the version if it is necessary, if it is the first change of a project in a development cycle. So and when it's detected situations and has been and has incremented the versions, it will create a corresponding separate commit with all the version increments necessary for the changes and pushes to the PR branch, so that as a contributor you will just notice with the message that is for which you can see the screenshot here, that some version bumps were necessary, but you almost get only a delay of 1 or 2 minutes to your usual build pipeline. So
Okay, so there is some issues on documentation, also issues on tooling, and actually where will we operate exactly as mentors? We have 2 playgrounds actually. This is the eclipseide.org website, which is the marketing website for the IDE. This is the entry point for users and developers that will download the Eclipse IDE. And there is the github.com Eclipse IDE project, and this is actually an organization on GitHub where we will gather all the technical and contributor information. So this website, the goal of this website is really to contain the top level documentation when a newcomer arrive on the Eclipse IDE. The goal is to explain what are the different projects, how is I would say to unify the documentation, and to explain how to install and contribute to a project, maybe to explain some differences between projects. And then it will give the links to the existing projects, which are hosted on github.com/Eclipse- and the project ID. You can find, for instance, Eclipse-BDE, Eclipse eGit, Eclipse platform, of course, where there are all of these projects are basically organizations where you can find different repositories on which you can contribute. So the goal of the Eclipse IDE is really to give the missing documentation to start. And we plan also to gather all the feedback from the contributors in this project in github.com Eclipse IDE to get the feedback and to get, for instance, complaints or whatever that problems that people just see when they are trying to contribute. So also one important point, there are tons of documentations in all the projects, in all the Eclipse-project ID. So our role is not to change this documentation, or maybe there will be some really simple fixes inside, just to explain something simpler, but there will be no changes in these projects. It's really in Eclipse IDE that we will find the changes.
Olivier, you have 2 minutes.
Yes. So we started now. We have students that will join the race to fix bugs and to test if all the documentation we will provide in the next days and next weeks is okay. So this is people from Code Days and students from Code Days. So for us, it's important to have your feedback, so you can contact us. We put our GitHub account, but actually on my account, you have also my email. So this is our 2 accounts. There is a Matrix chat also that allows you to discuss with all of us. You can access to this with this URL as a visitor, and you can read all the messages. Everything is public. And if you want to start to open issues for your contribution experience, feel free to open issues on this project. So it's on Eclipse IDE, of course. And for the moment, the project is .github and issues. So to conclusion of all of that, our role is really to improve the onboarding journey, and the consequence of that is also to improve the contribution workflow. So of course, it's not based only on our work. We need feedback from contributors, and we hope to have we hope to help you as much as possible. Maybe Hannes, do you have another conclusion or ask questions?
Yeah, if you need any assistance for contributions, reach out to us. Don't hesitate to ask. That's why we also put our GitHub accounts there. If you have a contribution already ready and you need some assistance, feel free to
put it. Yeah.
With the chorus as usual.
Basically, why the Eclipse GitHub the Eclipse IDE organization on GitHub is, and this is why we are working on this organization to exactly to answer your request.
I also want to empathize that Eclipse IDE is a quite new page for us. We get it a month ago, maybe 1.5 months ago, and it is currently work in progress. So if you look at it at the moment, it is not fully ready and it's in its full beauty, but we design our intent to become the main landing page for people who are interested in contributing to the Eclipse IDE, being it code, being it issues, or anything else.
Yeah. And there should be no code in the Eclipse IDE project, actually.
Yeah.
Unless we create specific tooling, but there will be only documentation. Okay, so I don't know if you have any questions. You can don't have the chat opened.
Yeah, I think we need to, unfortunately, I think we don't have time for questions. Perhaps feel free to ask your question in the chat, and perhaps we can go back to the question if we have time remaining.
We can answer in the chat.
Yeah,
we can answer in the chat with Hannes. No problem for that. So I stopped the screen sharing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivier and Hannes. And so now I give the mic to Andrey Piatakha. I hope I pronounce your name correctly.
Yeah, I couldn't expect better. So
Welcome.
it's good for now.
Mm.
So give me just 1 second. I will start a screen sharing, and
Yeah.
we'll.
Just to introduce, so as I was introducing your talk, yeah, you are an online trainer. You have many students, especially on Udemy platform. I think perhaps you are providing training on some technology, especially in Java, but not only Java. But you will explain to us what you are doing and what is the link between you and the Eclipse IDE, of course.
I have even dedicated slide for that, so to introduce myself. So hello guys, again, my name is Andrey Piatakha, like Thomas already mentioned. I am founder and CEO of IT Bulls. It's a consulting company. We're doing mobile apps, we are executing consultancies, and also I'm a founder of Learn IT Online University. I'm Udemy instructor partner with over 1 million students. So currently I have around 54 courses on Udemy. You can check it online. All my students from different countries. It's around 200 countries. So I'm really excited to be here. And as you may guess, the reason why I am here, because I have a lot of courses dedicated specifically on Java topic, and I use Eclipse IDE as a primary tool for showing all the demos and to help students to navigate and explore this Java world. So today I will provide you feedback from my students, from me personally about Eclipse IDE. We'll brainstorm with you a little bit on that. So don't worry, most of the feedback will be positive. So mostly you don't need to feel stressed a lot. So don't worry. So like I mentioned, the primary objective of my session is to share experience as an online educator. Yes, to go over the good points, why students prefer Eclipse IDE, to let us understand our strengths, our advantages, to share them with the community, and to keep highlighting them in our marketing offers, and keep pushing things forward. And also we'll go over some challenges that I heard from my students, and discussing of this will help us to become even more better. So as I already said, let's start from advantages, from our strengths, yeah, because this is important. So we should never forget why junior students who just started learning the Java still prefer Eclipse IDE. Even despite from the very beginning of my courses, from the beginning of my lessons, I let them select any IDE they wish. Still, I highlight some points which help students to make a choice in the favor of Eclipse IDE. First of all, of course, it's open source, it's free, and to be honest, guys, in many companies where I work, and I believe in many companies where you already worked in and collaborated with, Eclipse IDE is in standard software package for Java developers. Yeah, because usually companies don't consider additional budgets, or don't want to consider additional budgets for extra licenses. And of course, Eclipse is a choice number one for the standard of software for Java programmers in the enterprises. Of course, another feature, another huge advantage is that it is highly customizable. Yeah, so these plugins, and I see that Olivier also contributed to these plugins, and Anas, thank you all, guys. So myself and my students really love all these plugins. You're doing a great job helping us to expand the already rich functionality of Eclipse IDE. Yeah, and by the way, rich functionality by default. So sometimes in my lessons, when I show my students, okay, here you can configure, let's say, yeah, on example of a Tomcat, we are configuring with Tomcat. You can configure it inside your IDE. You don't need to leave even your workspace. You can set different properties here different views, here extensive Git integration tools. You don't need to use install git bash. Here is your bash terminal inside Eclipse IDE. Here is your command prompt if you like Windows style. Yeah, and sometimes students saying like, wow, you have here even web browser, even Eclipse IDE. When we come to the servlets topics and talking about more view representatives topics related to Java, right? So they're really impressed how many things I can do in Eclipse, which brings me to conclusion that it's not so obvious for them by default. Yeah, so it takes additional lessons for them to find the right buttons, to find the right views, and help them to configure their workspace in a proper way. Of course, community support. A lot of questions and answers on Stack Overflow will always be the strong point in the favor of Eclipse IDE. And of course, it is mature and stable already for a long time. Eclipse stands as a good support for junior and senior developers. So yeah, in general, feedback from the students overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, like I mentioned, plugins, flexibility, and the fact that it is free and available to use in enterprise environment. Talking in specifics, we have lessons and even few courses about Spring framework. Yeah, so this Spring-related plugins that helps to configure Spring Boot project directly in Eclipse IDE. That's amazing. But still, there are some areas for improvements. Yeah, which I noticed from my students. In my opinion, they are not like dramatic or something what we need to be afraid of to fix or to improve. First of all, you might be wondering, but yes, it is a light theme. I don't know why, and probably it might sound strange. Probably when junior students just start learning Java, they start posting pictures in Instagram, they tagging me, for example, and they want pictures look cute, and I don't know why they prefer dark theme. Yeah, sometimes they're messaging me directly on Udemy how to configure dark theme in Eclipse. It ended up me creating a lesson for them about additional plugin again. Yeah, so how you can configure view of icons, how you can style your icons, how you can change the background color and things like that. So of course, for us, for senior and experienced developers, probably it doesn't critically matter, but for junior developers who just start coding and exploring different ideas, apparently this is something what matters for them. Talking about hotkeys, not always junior developers starting watching my courses because I have courses like Java from scratch. I have Spring-related courses. Yeah, I have courses related on clean code design, where I also provide examples on Java. So some developers with already existing habits watching my lessons, and sometimes they want to give Eclipse IDE a second chance, right? So long time ago they tried it, so for some reasons they prefer other IDE, and now they seen me using the Eclipse IDE again. So what stops them? What prevents them from giving Eclipse IDE a second chance? Of course, sometimes it's hotkeys. So they already used to use some hotkeys, and this is a boundary, this restriction for them to staying as efficient as they were in the past, right? So probably introduction of feature that will map hotkeys of other IDEs on Eclipse IDE would help us to give a second chance for this group of students. Some students mentioned interactive hints and navigation. In my opinion, again, it's not so critical, because I am from a generation that passed and completed interview writing the code on a piece of paper, so with no additional help on which import statements to make or where is my method is using and how much, but still some students mentioning that it would be nice to have some button which will indicate where the file is in the project hierarchy and things like that. You know, sometimes there are inline comments and a lot of hints how many times this variable is used in this file, where this method is used in the project. For me, it's not a challenge to make a right click and open call hierarchy, yeah, but if you already use some other IDEs and have some habits, this can bring you some sense of dissatisfaction, right? And last but not the least, with regards to the performance, and again, I would like to highlight our strengths. Eclipse IDE is IDE that allows me to run in parallel different apps in comparison with other IDEs that completely capture my RAM memory. Okay, in this case, for example, some features of other IDE may work faster, but it completely blocks my work. Well, it blocks my multitasking and working with other applications. So probably we can provide our users with user-friendly configuration where they can change RAM memory options without configuring Eclipse INI file. Yeah, because to be honest, especially my students, sometimes afraid to update or change configurational files. Yeah, so again, probably some different user experience will help my students to explore the whole power and flexibility of Eclipse IDE configuration. So, and as the final words of my speech, I would like to mention that everyone that Eclipse IDE and the open source community behind it have built something truly remarkable already, right? So the flexibility, the power, the freedom of configuration that come with Eclipse are the results of the passion of each contributor and dedication to community. Yes, there will be always areas for improvement, but as you see, based on the feedback, it's not something we cannot achieve, and it's not something what we can fix in the nearest release to address any comments, right? So we have enough resources, we have enough power, we have enough brains, so let's push it towards our goals. Thank you for your attention, and I don't know, Thomas, if we have time for questions. I see on the timer that I did it in 12 minutes.
Would like, but I know we have 4 demos. But at least thank you very much, Andrey, for this very positive message. Yeah, I know. I was really eager to listen to you and to we hear a lot of people telling what you said about the room for improvement in Eclipse IDE. But it's really good to hear you and to hear that, okay, we also have very strong point, even key differentiators. And so I think you mentioned some of them. And that's really great to have this positive message today. And I'm looking forward to continue the discussion with you and perhaps to go deeper into the room for improvement and the comparison with other ideas. It is very interesting, very important for the group.
Sure, always with pleasure.
Yeah, for the people listening to you, if you have any question, really ask your question in the chat, and we will gather them and probably publish answer to your answer and the answer from other speaker to your question. Unless I'm looking. I'm the time. We are perfectly on time, but we should keep room for the 4 demos. So let's thank you very much again, Andrey.
Thank you.
And I will give the mic now to the first demo. So it's multi-monitor HiDPI support on Windows by Andreas. So Andreas, feel free to take the screen.
Yes. I hope you can hear me. Yes, I'm green, so it should be fine. Okay, I will share my screen. I will try to keep it short. First, start with some short words about me. I'm Andreas Koch. I'm product lead software engineer at Yatta. We have a long history with Eclipse and with Eclipse IDE, have our own Eclipse RCPs. And starting with last year, we started to work on improvements in the HiDPI regarding SWT, especially in the Windows environment. And yeah, today I want to give a short outlook or presentation how the current state is, and I want to start with outlining the actual problem we have. So my set, wait, you don't see it yet. Now you should see it. My setup here is I have a 2-monitor setup. I have a 100% monitor, that's my primary monitor on the left, and I have a 4K monitor with a 200% zoom setting configuration that you see here currently shared. And what you see here is just the latest Eclipse release RCP. I think the Java package I started, of course, on the primary monitor, so on the 100% setting, and dragged it over to the 200% monitor. And what you probably see is, I hope you can see it with the screen sharing, that it's quite this blurry scaling. So default setting, default behavior regarding DPI awareness is this system awareness. So in the end, the system takes over and is more or less just stretching or shrinking the rendered shell. So I would say, or I would assume, we can all agree that's not how we want to work on with that, because that's a bit ugly. So what we tried, and then we had a look at how we can improve that. So in the end, we need to switch this awareness mode to a per monitor mode. And of course, that's not working out of the box. So we needed to adjust a lot and rework a lot in the background to make it possible. So I want to just share you the same setting or scenario I have with the first ICP, more or less with just the current runtime. So same scenario, started on the 100% monitor, moved to the 200% monitor. And I hope it's quite visible, or the difference is quite visible, especially, I think the easiest one are probably images, and especially fonts that are just sharp as you would have expected that. To show that is really a dynamic version, I made a small Eclipse plugin that is just more or less introducing this event that we would get from the operating system to do that. So in general, we can now do whatever we want here. Of course, that's a bit technical, but there are some limitations to that. But for showing it off, I think that's the easiest way to do. So more or less, that's already there. We contributed a lot of that over the last 2-3 releases already in the bar behind. Everything is still more or less opt-in because it's a huge work that needed to be done. Perhaps just some words. What needed to be done is, in the end, on the basis this zoom, as I mentioned, though, the 102% is currently, or as it was before, some kind of static that was initialized at startup and then used all the time. And we needed to make that dynamically changeable, and especially change every state, every resource, everything that is relying on that. For example, fonts, of course, are relying on that, images and so on, to make that able to be recreated for the correct zoom without having API changes and so on, but everything implemented behind the public API in the background and refreshed and so on. So what that means as well is that, for example, if I detach a window now and I would drag that over, that you probably would see that it would be rescaled. So of course it's in a 100% monitor, zoomed scaled to the 100% monitor now, because more than 50% is on that. But the main window, as you can see, is not affected. So we have now more or less a per shell. It's kind of context per zoom. So each shell will always be scaled completely regarding the monitor it's currently assigned to. And we have, so you can work detached windows, whatever, you can move them around, the shells, the monitors, and it will always be scaled according to the monitor it is. So there are still some remaining topics to do. We're still working on. We have still some known issues with images in some scenario. We are currently working on the browser integration. So Internet Explorer and Edge is important for this. Having this behavior for example, for Java doc view, for everything where the browser is involved. And we are working on some adaptations because the dark theme, especially in Windows, is behaving quite differently than the light theme, and there are still some open topics to do. But yeah, we hope we can finish that up quite soon. And yeah, so that would be my short introduction and glimpse for the HWT changes.
Thank you very much. It's very short, but thank you very much. It's very nice to see. Again, I think we don't have room for a question. We will switch to the next speaker. But Andreas, people know your name, and if you have any question, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And so the next speaker is Heiko Klare.
Yes, so sorry, I was searching for the unmute button. I hope you can hear me now. And I hope you can see my screen. So you should see an Eclipse IDE.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm, my name is Heiko. I'm working at Vector Informatik. We're developing a large-scale RCP-based application, also using the Eclipse IDE for developing it, and also making contributions to Eclipse, to the platform, both for improving the IDE as well as the basis for our product. And one of the features that we've developed so far, which is already in productive use, in contrast to the one that we've seen before, which is still in an experimental state, is an improvement or an alternative, at least, for using find replace functionality within an editor. So let's say we're in a code editor and you want to search something. You probably know this existing dialog, which has been there for quite some years, where you can enter your search information and start searching within the document. Those of you who have already updated to the latest Eclipse release in September have maybe seen a change in this. I would like to now go to the preferences, but unfortunately there is this zoom bar in place. Sorry for that. In the preferences, you can now activate a different way of visualizing the find and replace functionality. If you download an Eclipse IDE, it's enabled by default now. And if you now press Control F for searching something, you will see a search bar like this here. You may have seen something similar in other IDEs, like in IntelliJ, VS Code, or something like that, where you also have such an integrated thing. This provides basically the same functionality as the existing dialog. So I will not show you every feature it has to, for example, search for case-sensitive things, make regex search, and so on. It's basically the same as the existing dialog, but the difference is that it's not floating around as a dialog that can be attached to different views that you might have open, but it's really integrated into the document in which you want to search. Because usually you will be searching within a specific document that you have open, and so it makes sense to have this thing in place within the editor in which you're searching. This takes less place, it's not dangling around, so it feels more integrated. One difference is also that now with this one, an incremental search, or you may know it as search as you type, is implemented. So if I type here, it will constantly search for the string I'm typing into, which you could also activate in the existing dialog, but which was not enabled by default. So this now provides find functionality. If you then want to replace some things, you have the ability to extend this overlay so that you only have the replace functionality when you need it, because usually you don't want to search within some editor, within some document, and only if replacing is needed, you can extend this one and then perform some replace operation that then updates your document. You also have some configuration options to, for example, show this one at the bottom of your editor, so you can configure it in some way and basically have all the options directly within this dialog, but in a more condensed form in terms of just icons instead of the text that you've seen before. So this feature, as I mentioned, is already available in a current IDE. Still, we're still working on that. It's not finished, although it's enabled by default, but you can still deactivate it. We're still fixing some issues that we find. We know that it's also a trade-off to use this or the existing dialog, because now, of course, you're tied to the editor in which you're in. You cannot define some fine string and search in different editors. So that's a current drawback. And we're thinking about solutions for that to also provide existing workflows that you might have with the existing dialog. So it's still work in progress. And in particular, if you're a Linux user, you might have seen that this will not work properly. If your system is using Wayland, then it does not work properly. You have to go back to the existing dialog. That's also something that we're currently working on. So if you're using this one, if you find some issues, something is not working for you, let us know, open an issue, as we're still working on that one. And then I'm already done with my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. You are perfectly on time. Thank you. Do we have room? Yeah, no, we are on time, so I think we will just switch to the next demo. And I was reading the chat and seeing some remark and question, but yeah, it was related to the previous demo. Okay, now we are waiting Matthias for modern light theme. Matthias.
Oh, hello everybody. This is Matthias from SAP speaking. I hope you can hear and see me. And I'm standing in here for work that is done by a colleague of mine for Madhu from India. She cannot join at this time of the day. So I'm not presenting my work, but it's a work of her basically. And I'm just now sharing oops, just a moment. Arranging my windows. Yes. So yeah, okay. So what we are doing at the moment, we want to improve the light theme or the themes in general of Eclipse. And the idea is to make the Eclipse look just much more modern as other IDEs do. And we are trying to achieve a lot just with plain theming. So what you at the moment see is the current light theme on macOS here. And I'm now switching to a preview version of the light theme, which now shows changes we introduced to the light theme. And the plan is once we have finished that and we are satisfied with that, we will then move these changes to the normal light theme, and the preview light theme will vanish. And so before I switch over, just have a look as like everything is here white, plain white everywhere. And it's kind of hard maybe for first-time users to have focus where's the most important thing, because everything looks the same, all white everywhere. So, and the idea is now to give the editor more focus. And I just restart that. Oops, that was too fast. Sorry for that. Just struggling with my lots of Eclipse IDEs. Oh yeah, just a moment. This one is the correct one. Oh, this one here, yes. So we are thinking the editor is the most important part in an IDE, and all the views around, they are in a movie, you would say they are the supporting actors. So the main idea is now to have this main actor, the most important part, have that light, and the other views you see they have not that white background anymore. They have a slight gray background. So you just now see, okay, what is important here. We also changed how the tabs, the active tabs are highlighted. You see the one that is the tab that has the focus where you're working in has this blue bar here. The other ones, which here the selected one in the other stack here has a gray bar. If I focus it, this gets blue, and you see this is now grayed. So grayed out. So you the one with the blue bar is the one where your keyboard goes into, basically. Yeah. And yeah, that's the main idea of that stuff. We also removed here gradients from these tabs here, making it just looking much more cleaner and simpler, and just to not so much disturb the eyes. So there are still, this is not yet finished. There are still issues on that. We have a GitHub issue for that collects all that stuff. I will put that link into the chat after my presentation. So just please try it out. It's part of the September release. Try the new preview theme out. If you find issues here or have feedback, this is highly welcome. We try to incorporate all the feedback. And once we have that finished for the light theme, we plan also to improve the dark theme. And I just heard in this presentation that the dark theme is so important for young people. So hopefully we can improve that so that yeah, maybe we should also think about something that maybe asks you at first startup, what do you want to have, light theme or dark theme, and then maybe just configures your IDE accordingly. Just thinking.
Yeah.
So that's basically from my side. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, Matthias. And yeah, I think I've seen some previews of the dark theme improvements during on the on-site meeting, and think, yeah, I think many people will be very eager to see this new feature in the release. And your feature is already in September release, as you said. Okay, thank you very much. And so we are still on time with 6 minutes remaining for our last speaker, Christopher, on sticky scrolling demo. Christopher.
Yes. So thanks, Thomas. Let me share my screen. So I'm Christopher from SAP, and in the last month I worked on some contributions in the area of sticky scrolling, and I guess that some of you already stumbled over the feature in other IDEs, and now with the latest release, it's available in Eclipse. And basically, the sticky scrolling supports you in keeping track of the position in your source code, especially if you are working on some large or nested coding. And so by default, the feature is disabled, and to enable it, you can just open the text editor settings, and below there you can find the new settings to enable the sticky scrolling. And there's also a setting to set the maximum line count or the maximum sticky scrolling count. So, and as soon as I enable this feature and I apply the settings, you can see that the most important source code lines are now attached to the top of my editor. And now I can keep track that I'm here in my class, sticky scrolling control in the method, and I'm somewhere in an else if branch. And as soon as I start scrolling, of course, this sticky lines here will adapt to the source code. And the default implementation is currently working completely on indentation. That means it's out of the box working for all different kind of languages. So here we do see some Java examples, But of course, yeah, it's also working for JSON files here, so I can nicely keep track of my JSON file. And yeah, some other example here, the YAML file, it's also working. But of course, just doing it based on indentation is sometimes not the best idea. So for example, I toggle here the command line. So by default, the command will start at the very beginning of the line. And of course, since this will reset the indentation, as soon as I start scrolling over this line, this will completely here align some wrong lines here in my sticky scrolling. And so if we, or maybe if you look here in some other examples, so the inner map class, you can see that the curly bracket, oh, sorry for that. So this curly bracket here is somehow attached to the new line. And of course, in these scenarios, this does not really bring much benefit here. The good news is that I'm already working on some extensions points so that we can provide some special handling for Java classes here and for other languages. And so if you're interested in the feature and maybe you're experienced in JDT development and have some ideas how this can be done in Java, yeah, feel free to reach out to me or to one of the, or comment to one of the issues on the Eclipse project. Yeah, would be nice to have here some help for the JDT implementation. And that's it. So back to you, Thomas.
Good. Thank you very much, Christopher. I believe it was challenging to have so many demo and working demo and speaker in 1 hour. And since it was really perfect, we are perfectly on time, just 2 minutes in advance. So thank you to all of us among the speakers and all of you for attending this community call. I'm looking forward to meeting you for those who will be able to attend the EclipseCon OCX conference in October. And in any case, I think we will have the opportunity to have again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any question and if you want to know more about IDE, about the Eclipse IDE working group. So thank you all for this meeting and for this community call. It was really great to see and really positive and good feeling. See you. I will stop the recording right now.